We are in the middle of summer right now, and the heat is harsher than ever before. Michigan is currently in the midst of another harsh heat wave, meaning that it's more important than ever to keep yourself safe from the weather and the very hot sun. Joining us now on The Splash to tell us more is West Bloomfield Fire Department Captain Michael Wood. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Of course, really glad to have you with us, and good to see that amazing fire truck right behind you. Always great to see. And right now, we're in the middle of summer, and everyone is getting hot outside, and the temperatures are much higher than we've seen recently. What are some of the most common heat-related emergencies your department responds to during extreme heat?
Well, with any heat, you're going to have the heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And so if you're outdoors, planning on being outdoors, hydrate ahead of time. Hydrate the day before. Drink a lot of fluid. Drink some electrolytes to keep your chemical balance all normal. And keep drinking when you're outside.
That's absolutely right. Drinking water and staying hydrated is one of the most important things you can do. Dehydration can be a very problematic thing to deal with. What signs of dehydration should people watch out for, would you say?
Well, if they transition from a sitting to a standing position, they get lightheaded and dizzy. Okay, your fluids are probably low. When you urinate, it should be clear. If it's a dark color, you need to drink more. If you're outside and you're sweating a ton and then you stop sweating, that's a really bad sign when you stop sweating. Get yourself into a cool area, whether it be in a house, whether it be in your car, whether it be at a cooling center. Sorry about that. We're a little bit busy today, so I'm going to pause so that I don't have to talk over them.
Don't worry about it. But those are some very important tips to keep in mind. I didn't even know about the one you just said about when you stop sweating all of a sudden, that's very, very bad. So always see, I just learned something myself. So it's great that everyone is having this information. And of course, it's not just dehydration, it's heat exhaustion and heat stroke that can also provide problems for a lot of people. Are there any warning signs or symptoms of those that residents should know how to recognize and respond to?
Well, if they're not responding appropriately, if they're not making sense when you ask them basic questions, if they're a loved one of yours and you just know that, okay, they're not acting right, get them inside. Yeah, feel, even just taking the back of your hand and just feel on their forehead. That's something that will, also offer some clues as to what's going on.
There you go. Simple things for everybody in the greater West Bloomfield community to keep in mind. Now, everyone's going to be wanting to stay cool this summer, and some people might not have access to air conditioning at their home. So I'm curious, do you know of any cooling centers or maybe some designated safe spaces throughout West Bloomfield that residents can use if they don't have some of those resources at home?
So off the top of my head, no, I don't know of any. Having 4 kids, and they're all grown up now, but when they were younger, we would spend time going to the mall. We would spend time at the public libraries, the different libraries, and have fun visiting them and seeing what they provided for the kids, while also it kept us all cool. If you have a basement, hang out in your basement. The basements are usually cooler than the main floor and the second floor. If you're going to be in water, if you're going to be in a lake, use extreme caution. Know your limits. If you are outside a lot working in the yard or exercising, now you jump into a lake, be very cautious because how your body's going to react to that temperature change. Your muscles are going to seize up. They're going to start spasming. Speaking from experience, when I went to a tennis camp, I jumped in the deep end of a pool. I'm a good swimmer. I love the water. My legs seized up. They cramped up. Scared me to death. I'm a strong swimmer. I was able to wade over to the edge. I didn't want to cause a ruckus because I'm with all my friends. I don't want attention drawn to me. So I'm just going to swim over here. So in the lake, you got to be very cautious of your swimming capabilities, swimming with a buddy, even having a flotation device behind.
All great information. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with West Bloomfield Fire Department Captain Michael Wood, who's providing some very important tips to stay really, really safe this summer, especially from the massive heat strokes and the massive heat waves, including the one we're dealing with right now here in Michigan. Now, Michael, with something like this, it's always important to not only take care of yourself, but also to maybe check in on some vulnerable neighbors or some loved ones who might not have as many resources as you have. How can residents check on vulnerable neighbors or loved ones safely during a heat wave?
There's not a, let me rephrase that, I'm sorry.
Go right.
There's always a good time to start being a good neighbor. And it's now. Always check up on your neighbors, even if it's just casual conversation. If you see somebody that's old in your neighborhood, even when you're driving out, stop to them, talk to them, find out how they're doing. If they need anything, hey, I'm going to run to Meyer. Can we get you something when we are there? You never know what can happen. With regard to just checking up on them and inviting them into your house if you have air conditioning. With the storm that blew through yesterday, it was really neat standing outside when that storm first came through. The gust of wind, we'll call it the gust front, awesome to experience. But then that brings challenges of down trees, down power lines. Now people turn to generators to power their house. With the wind, with the humidity and the temperature, you really got to watch even the standby generators and the portable generators and making sure that they're far away from the house and that exhaust is not sneaking into the house. That's where the carbon monoxide detectors come in really handy, especially if they're battery powered, so that you know that carbon monoxide is staying out of the house. Some generators are powerful enough to power air conditioners. If you are at all in question with regard to if your generator can power an air conditioner, contact a qualified electrician and they'll be able to answer that and maybe even hook you up with some type of a device that can make your air conditioning work on generator power.
All right, lots of important information that I hope everybody takes away from this conversation. And Michael, I am curious, I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, because I'm not just asking about what other residents should do to stay cool, but I'm also curious about what you and the rest of the firefighters do, especially going into these hot situations. What types of gear or preparation do firefighters use to protect themselves while working in such very, very high temperatures?
So we don't have any specialized gear that we have to deal with the higher temperatures, but we do have strategies and extra manpower that we can call in. On a typical house fire, we may put 3 stations on it normally. If it were to happen today and even yesterday, we would pull all 6 stations to come together and help fight that fire to give guys time off and recoup and go into rehab to cool their body temperature down. We have a wonderful mutual aid pack with the surrounding communities that we can call them in as well to offer assistance and provide manpower so that we can rotate crews and keep them out of the hot environment, have them stripped down on their gear. We carry a lot of extra water and a lot of electrolytes that we can put in that water to keep that chemical balance correct in your body.
There you go, all going back to staying hydrated. Great to hear of everything that the fire department has on hand to help you guys through it. Last question, Michael, before we wrap things up, where can people go to gain a little more information about how to properly navigate such harsh heat waves like this one?
I think YouTube is a great thing. You could probably even hit the Oakland County Health Department, hit their webpage. They may have heat emergency little guidelines and suggestions to avoid such emergencies.
All right, great resources for everyone to keep in mind. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.